Hey, you guys, this week's channeled message is filled with so much incredibly practical information, so many awesome perspective shifts. The Mother of Creation is with us once again, and she has been teaching us about how to work with her energy, the energy of moving, of change, moving through the void, moving through the stillness, leaping off the cliff into the unknown, and how that helps us to create something that's never existed before, to create a brand new future for ourselves, or very appropriately, to create a brand new reality for humanity, right? To create our great shift in consciousness. So the timing of this information could not be better. So welcome back to my channel, you guys. So great to have you here. I'm so glad that you could join me. I'm so loving these messages, and I feel like they are the Mother of Creation. Through these, she's not only starting to get to know us better and developing a relationship with us, but she is also sharing, I think, really important information about a brand new understanding of how to work with our creative energy. And I feel like it's just incredibly expanding. It's helping us to confront some old ways of thinking that we have just taken as just ways of doing things, which it turns out are actually not very helpful. And that these simple things, simple changes we can make will actually help us to really connect in a much deeper way to our creative power. All right, so for those of you who are new, my name is Ann Tucker. I am a trance channel, and I typically channel from the angelic realm, but lately I've also been channeling the Mother of Creation, she is not another word for God. She's a mother of all souls, and so in order to do that, in order to channel, I go into a deep trance state, a deep form of meditation, like a trance. And from there, I connect. And typically with the angels, I stretch up as high as I can and connect at the angelic realm with the Mother of Creation. She comes in through my back, like through my heart, and kind of comes out this way. So it feels a little different. Feels amazing. It feels a little different. So, and then with that, once I'm in trance, I'm able to bring through from them messages for you, message information, healing, that I'm really thrilled to be able to share with you, here with you guys on YouTube. So my format is I will share the original channeling, which I did yesterday. I usually do it on Thursdays. And then afterwards, we will talk through the message and break it down. And it's wonderful to just to let it soak in, because there's so much potential learning in the message. And so I really love to take that time to think about it more deeply and to take it in. And I think it helps a lot. So I also wanted to make sure all of you who are in peace bathing with me, just a reminder, peace bathing is this Sunday. So make sure you are looking. You'll be getting a reminder in your email to join us, of course, 10 a.m. Pacific time on this Sunday. So I will see you there. And those of you, if you would like to join us, peace bathing is my monthly healing with the angels. It's a beautiful session where they bring us up into the vibration of peace, where they have beautiful access to our energy, and it's different every single time. They're helping us to adapt to the changing frequencies, the changing energies that are coming as part of this shift in consciousness, helping us to keep pace with the changes. And then we use that meditation that we get, we use it all month long as part of our healing program, as part of our healing toolkit, that anything that comes up for you during the week, you do your peace bathing meditation, you bring it into the session, the angels will help guide you, lift it, move you through those experiences, helping you to heal more quickly. So anyway, so it's available to you if you'd like to join us. Not too late. It's on my website. At the top, you'll see work with me, and there's a drop down menu, and peace bathing is right there. Okay, you guys, let's dive in to the message. Blessings, I am with you. I will be speaking about things you already know and know nothing of. Both are often interpreted through a lens of understanding that can be explained better. The offering I have that I've come to share is one of delight and exasperation, one within which you may divine your own understanding, which you may take on and take to heart as one who celebrates their life here. You are undertaking something grand and devastating all at once. The expansion of humanity opens a doorway through which new worlds are beckoning, and it closes a door on this one, on the one of your current knowing, that which you understand and have been living. And the duality of these experiencings are jarring to most people. The loss of things, the deprivation of ideas, thoughts, memories of that which feels akin to your own life, that which feels important. These passages can create a rupture in life that you are living, but also in your energetic field. It can feel as if the devastation of loss is all you remember, as if the time and place wherein things used to be simpler would be so much easier if only they could be brought back. And I would share with you now that in the surrender to what is, the opening of the doorway becomes palpable, that what you no longer need might be lost, and nothing else, only that which has overstayed its welcome, only that which is no longer useful, that which cannot carry you farther from here. You may depart from this in the full knowledge that you are what you are seeing. You create what is from within you. That which you've outlived, which no longer serves, is a departed part, an extrapolated experience which can no longer tolerate the vibration you are moving into. Let it go. Let it be surrendered. React from the now only. Perceive with new eyes, with a fresh embrace of what is coming. This feels and sounds simpler than it will be. In the momentary influx of changing, the soul that you are may react and may find that the solutions that you are counting on will not hold water, will not take hold, cannot deliver you in the ways that you may have been thinking. And this is all right. For that which you counted upon was born from an old plane of resistance. It was brought forward in the context of resistance to the friction that change can create. Have in your heart no conflict to the change that is coming. Have in your heart only freedom, the thought that remains at the end of the day when all that is changed is changing around you, is that you are what matters. You are what is important. And you cannot tarry in the old reflections of a no longer useful way of being. You are the light, the starlight that creates the new journey. You must beckon that future toward you. You must call and create it from the now moment. What will this feel like, this dearth of experiencing when what has been lost has left you and what new has not yet begun? What shall it feel like? Can you prepare yourself for it? I would say not readily, not easily. It is a stasis point, a stillness you reject, for it creates in the harness of control the unsettled sensation of being the subjected to reality you cannot constrain, that you cannot connect to. You feel lost and alone and bereft. Fear nothing in that moment. Have no fear that what is surrendered was needed. Be only in the spot of your choice to continue, to live on, to experience what is happening, to come forward into what is beckoning you. Your creative self takes more than an hour, sometimes more than a week, but not a lifetime. It will come forward. The new beckons to you. And if you allow it, it will rise up from within you. What shall it look like? What shall it feel like? How can I anticipate it? How can I wait more patiently? These questions are on your mind. And these questions are a delight, for you are considering the opening of your field. resonating with the potential for the unknown and what is not yet understood. From this higher ground and perspective of anticipating change with readiness, you can prepare the self to be resolved to continue. And this is all you need do. Continue. Continue moving, continue being, continue blessing each day of your journey, resting in between, knowing that when you know not what to do, something will come forward, something will continue toward you. Simply waiting is not waiting. You need not wrestle with your own impatience. Simply settle into the motions of making do and making the best of each day that is brought to you. Opening your heart in surrender to what is, allowing the future to beckon toward you. Being aware, recognizing with patience, with calm reflection, what is changing, what is presenting itself. What can you move toward with ease? Where are you graduating in your heart space towards something that feels joyful or potentially important? What can speak to you in a language that you don't yet understand? Where is your curiosity? Where do you feel led? These are the quiet moments of stillness wherein your perception is enabled. The all of you can speak through you in these moments, in the moments of acceptance of change, wherein your only sensation of doing is perceiving. This is where to settle your emotion, where to settle into change, to allow the self this placement of stillness. The habit readily made by most persons on this plane of experience is that stillness is not beneficial, that stillness between one thing and the next means you didn't plan well, means that you had no plan before leaving, that if you are still and waiting for something, you've already lost and cannot continue and will not have opportunities. And this is not the case. What it means is that your opportunities will not be the same as what they were. It means you have left behind one frame of experience and are moving into the next, and the next door can open. And the more that you relax into the stillness, the wider that door can present itself, the more that can come through. The placement of your own vibration is of critical importance. How are you perceiving what lies in front of you? Are you allowing? Are you opening? Rejection from what has been can play a discordant harmony in the body. The sensation that something was lost or given up or taken from you, that you've left behind something that perhaps was valued. But as these changes wipe away what can no longer make do, you are lengthening the stillness, not shortening. You are opening the opportunity to receive and perceive something new. The higher frequency of your own evolution comes from this place. You cannot create it from the benchmark of something that has gone before, from what you previously knew. It only comes from the lengthening of the time between things, sitting in the stillness. What does this look like on an average day, in an average week? How long will it take me? How may I perceive things more quickly? The disquiet moves you. This is something to be aware of, to recognize in the soul the great stirring of judgment, how you feel when you feel lost. Feel as if that which previously molded you is in judgment against you. This is the disquiet that you're experiencing. The fear, yes, the fear that you will not find your way out. I wish to express and to embolden you. The feelings of not doing cannot continue. The emotions of this space and placement of stillness are not forever. They are a momentary pinpoint upon which you shall pivot, should you only commit yourself to experiencing that stillness with an open heart and with acceptance of what can only be described as the potential of the infinite. Once you have admired your world from this perspective, new things will come forward. New opportunities will present themselves. The letting go is what takes the most time. The greater the time you spend letting go, the longer you will feel that you are waiting. Can you only reflect upon the goodness of this opportunity to step off of a moving train going the wrong way onto the platform of indecision, and to stand still and to get your bearing and to see what beckons you next and what carries you? And it may not be a train at all. There may be a hot air balloon or some other form of transport that takes you to a higher plane or to somewhere you previously could not perceive. And this is the opening that you are waiting for. This is the disconnection and the new endeavor that you are making. Thus, find your peace in the now moment. The letting go is what perturbs you. Set it down in the trust that you are made well, that you are a gifting to this earth, and the greater acceptance that you feel in your own heart of who you are and what you are creating, the more you will trust yourself to create a new vision in alignment with what will behoove you, what will draw you into a brighter and more free future. I bless you. So I feel like this message, I love the message. I just love every Friday. I always look so forward to it. I love the message. And I feel like it's beautifully clear. And I feel like she's taking us deeper into this understanding of what this is going to be like. And what I love about it is we are experiencing this in our own lives. Like, how many of you are in a place of huge, coming off the eclipse cycle, in a place of huge change right now in your lives, where you've left something or in the process of leaving something, maybe it's just happening to you now, or that you're going through it right now, where there's like, okay, this was the expectation, and this is now there's some new expectation where things are unfolding in a way I did not anticipate. Or maybe you did and you finally pulled the trigger on something, right? That it's major change a lot of us are going through. So we have an opportunity now to practice this in our own lives. And then of course there's change in the bigger picture. But the more we get comfortable with working with this energy individually, the easier it will be for us when there are broader changes in our reality. When some of these major, the undoing of the systems of our world, like we can see it all around us, and we can see how it's coming crazy that they started telling us about this in 2020. And now the stuff that sounded so bonkers back then is like, oh yeah, that's happening. It's wild to see it coming more and more and more into our reality. But if we practice this on a personal level, when those bigger things, or as those bigger things happen, then we can understand how to work with the energy as a whole, which I think is so incredibly powerful, right? Like, this is, again, how do you be a light worker, right? Is step up first, right? We do it first, and we work with our own lives, and we work with it personally. And then that helps us to support others. That helps us to form the collective consciousness towards understanding how to sit in the void, how to move with the void. So what I love about this energy is she is saying that how long is the void? Like, how long do we have to sit there? And it's going to be totally individual. And the thing that makes the difference, and she describes it early in the message, she says it is a pinpoint. The void is a pinpoint. It's a pivot point, right? It's a turning point. And so how long do we have to spend there? She says, however long it takes you to let go, right? Which is like pin drop on that one. However long it takes us to let go. Because once we let go, boom, the new thing will come towards you. Let's go through the message and break it down together. I love with her messages. Like, I think they're very clear, very understandable the first round, but I think there's certain places in here that we can take a moment and let it sink in a little deeper. And I think that's really of service. So let's do it. So first paragraph, she says, blessings, I'm with you. I will be speaking about things you already know and know nothing of. Both are often interpreted through a lens of understanding that can be explained better. I love that opening about things you already know and things you know nothing of, and both could be understood better. And I think what she's talking about here is she's talking to us about a shift in perspective, right? If it's stuff we know and stuff we don't know, but both could have a better understanding, it's like maybe we're looking at things through a lens that is not is that we could shift into a higher spiritual perspective and see things with more truth, right? See things as they actually are. So then she goes on to say, the offering I have that I've come to share is one of delight and exasperation, one within which you may divine your own understanding, which you may take on and take to heart as one who celebrates their life here. So this is the idea that she's talking about, like the endings and the new beginnings, delight and exasperation. The void is full of delight and exasperation, right? Hope for the future, fear of the future. It's a really conflicted space, you know? And then she says, you can divine one in which you can divine your own understanding, which you must take on and take to heart as one who celebrates their life here. So, and here right in the beginning, she's like, this is how we do it. We manage everything. We navigate the void. We navigate our future through the concept of celebrating ourselves and celebrating our lives. When we can hold that frequency, everything else takes care of itself. So next paragraph, she says, you are undertaking something grand and devastating all at once. The expansion of humanity opens a doorway through which new worlds are beckoning, and it closes the door on this one, the one of your current knowing, that which you understand and have been living. And the duality of these experiencings are jarring to most people. So this is where she's starting to say, okay, here's what we're talking about, that we can talk about this conceptually, but when it happens to us, when we leave something and we don't have something else in hand, no plan, if you've ever been laid off from a job and you don't have the next one and you're like, oh my word, especially because we have reality, right? We have, what about bills? What about like all of it? So there's the reality component, and then there's also the emotional component of it, of feeling rejected, feeling like a loser, feeling like whatever comes up, you know, whatever you're feeling, however that is turning inward on yourself, and however it hurts, like that but there's also the hope of it, right? The hope of something new. And she says, however it turns out, this experience for humans is a particularly jarring experience. She says the loss of things, the deprivation of ideas, thoughts, memories of that which feels akin to your own life, that which feels important. These passages can create rupture in the life that you are living, but also in your energetic field. It can feel as if the devastation of loss is all you remember, as if the time and place wherein things used to be simpler would be so much easier, if only they could be brought back. So this is really speaking to the idea that once, if you've ever been in this space of having lost something and not knowing what to do next, it could be lost, it could be even a decision you made or that was made for you, whatever, being in that space, it can be all consuming. It's like Kelsey was saying about the overwhelm. It can be absolutely overwhelming. It's like feeling like you have to do something and you have no idea what to do. And so it literally is just like you just have this level. Like I will tell you, like the night of my first divorce, when I first realized that the relationship was ending, I sat in bed with my eyes just like trying to sleep, you know, eyes just wide open, and just panic attacks all night long, panic attack. And it was just, you know, what is a panic? For me, I defined that my heart would just racing and then finally settle, and then racing and then finally settle. As it just like my whole body, it felt like I had been electrocuted. And yeah, just absolutely overwhelming. And what do I do? And it was so like my whole life dissolved, the rug pulled out. And that was the huge spiritual awakening opportunity for which I'm deeply grateful. Like, thank you. But I did not know that. All I knew was that, oh my God, everything I thought that was true is not true. You know, everything that I built my life on is gone. Like that one song by Stevie Nicks the song about the mountain. They're looking at the mountain and the mountain crumbles. And I was like, that was my song. That was my anthem, of my first divorce. And yeah, there it goes. It's going to, the mountain that you thought it was a mountain and then it fell down. And so, so that feeling, if that feeling of overwhelm, and it's the loss. It could be anything, it could be a dream you had about like, oh, I want to be a doctor. I want to go to medical school. And then you don't get in, or something terrible, or something happens. You can't go, there's like, it could come in so many forms, you guys. And but each one, it can fill our field entirely. And then how do we get out of that? If we are in that space of panic, overwhelm, how do we cope? How are we supposed to be in this stillness? You're like, I'm freaking out. I got panic attacks. How am I supposed to be in the joy of the stillness? So that is kind of what she's addressing here, because we got to be real about it. Change just can be really scary. So next paragraph, she says, and I would share with you now that in the surrender to what is, the opening of the doorway becomes palpable. So it's in that moment of surrendering, right? The doorway becomes palpable. So she's really trying to reassure us that right on the other side, if we can just get to the spot of surrendering, of just saying, okay, my life just crashed down around me. What can I do to surrender and just to let it happen and trust? It all comes down to trust, trusting ourselves, trusting our guides, trusting spirit, But she says when we are able to truly do that, the doorway immediately, and that's the key. I think one of the things she's really pointing at in the message, it is a pinpoint. It is a moment. If we can just let go, change happens, boom, that fast. That's how quickly it can happen for us. So she says, in the surrendering to what is, the opening of the doorway becomes palpable. That which you no longer need might be lost, and nothing else. Only that which has overstayed its welcome. Only that which is no longer useful, that which cannot carry you farther from here. And so it really is wonderful to reframe all loss like that. Anytime you lose something, immediately understand, oh gosh, I outgrew that. Oh gosh, that was holding me back. I didn't know. I didn't realize that was a container that doesn't fit me anymore, that I'm headed out, I'm headed bigger, I'm headed better. I just don't see it yet. But if it ended, it's because it doesn't serve you anymore. And so it just, I think it helps to just immediately say loss, like let's redefine what loss is. Loss no longer means losing. Loss means outgrowing, and I think if we just hold that in our heart, it can help to bring us some peace through the process. Loss means you've grown. And so here we go, next paragraph. She says, you may depart from this in the full knowledge that you are what you are seeing. In other words, change. You are what you are seeing. You are moving forward. This is changing because of you, because you've grown. You create what is from within you. That which you've outlived, which no longer serves, is a departed part, an extrapolated experience which can no longer tolerate the vibration you are moving into. Right? It's because it's not high enough to stay with you. The frequency can't come along, because you've moved higher. So next paragraph, she says, let it go. Let it be surrendered. React from the now only. Perceived with new eyes, with a fresh embrace of what is coming. This feels and sounds simpler than it will be. In the momentary influx of changing, the soul that you are may react and may find that the solutions that you are counting on will not hold water, will not take hold, cannot deliver you in the ways that you may have been thinking. So think about that. Like what she's saying here is that sometimes there are things that we build our security on, that we tell ourselves, well, if I have this or if I have that, I'll always be okay. And sometimes that is, everybody's got, I call it a safety fear, the thing that we go to worry about when we're not sure what to worry about. when we feel vague anxiety and where should we stick it, we stick it. All of us have our space. For some people, it's physical safety. For some people, it's health. For some people, it's money. For some people, it's relationship. We put it where are we, what is the thing that we worry about or stress about the most irrationally, where we know it's irrational, And so in that space, we might have put structures in place to try to make ourselves feel safe. And so that might look like, if you're that health person, it might be that your incredible fitness routine, or your smoothies that are filled with a million supplements, or if it's physical safety, it might be that you have in terms of your home or your lifestyle, that you've insulated yourself from what might feel scary, or in your finances, that you've built up a safety net in some degree, or whatever it is, whatever you've done that you say, or if it's, maybe you're, and this would include some of the stuff that we may have done in terms of the changes we're anticipating, in terms of our water purification, or our canned food, or whatever it is, your rice and beans, whatever that makes us feel safe. She says we might find in those solutions, whatever solutions we put in place, what happens? How will we feel if they don't hold water? She says if they don't help. Like we thought we were so prepared for this change, and we were trying to prepare in a physical way, in an earth way, in this current stage of reality. We've been trying to prepare for the loss of structures, of things, of whatever it is. She says, what happens if those things don't actually serve us? If it turns out that, what if you have been planning and planning and planning, like a prepper? Imagine a prepper who's got a house full of stuff, and then the chaos comes and their house burns down and it's all gone. And they're like, oh my gosh, like, what then? What then? So she says, and this is all right. She says, it's all right. Don't worry about it if that happens. She says, for that which you counted upon was born from an old plane of resistance. It was brought forward in the context of resistance to the friction that change can create. So anything we're doing now, and that's not saying that we shouldn't do it. That's not saying that we shouldn't take basic precautions, that we shouldn't, like Red Cross is always saying, have a certain number of days of food and water. And like, it's just part of understanding that systems can be fragile, and we do these basic things. But if those basic things don't end up paying off, if, like I said, if your house ends up floating down a river, then you are all right? That whatever we had was born from the resistance to the friction that change can create. And it means that there's another choice out there for you, that there's something different coming for you. So she says, have in your heart no conflict to the change that is coming. Have in your heart only freedom. The thought that remains at the end of the day, when all that is changed is changing around you, is that you are what matters. You are what is important. So, and this is trust, having trust and faith that we are creating our reality. And if the things that we provided for ourselves or did for ourselves, it's like, and if those things didn't hold at the end of the day, trust that there's a reason for it, and trust that you are creating something, that your energetic container is expanding beyond that. And there's going to be something different, some larger purpose you are called to. They go on to say, and you cannot tarry in the old reflections of a no longer useful way of being. You are the light, the starlight that creates a new journey. You must beckon that future toward you. You must call and create it from the now moment. What will this feel like, this dearth of experiencing, when what has been lost has left you, and what new has not yet begun? What shall it feel like? Can you prepare yourself for it? I would say not readily, not easily. It is a stasis point, a stillness you reject. For it creates in the harness of control the unsettled sensation of being the subjected to reality you cannot constrain, that you cannot connect to. You feel lost, alone, and bereft. So let's explain that paragraph there. She says, so the change itself, the movement into the new reality, is a stasis point, a stillness, right? It is literally like a place you get to. Think about like trying to turn a great big cruise ship, right? And you can't just go turning, like it has to do this turn. And there's going to be a certain point, the moment that it is officially past the halfway, that's the stasis, that stillness point, that we have to sit with that moment of change, the crux of it, right? And she says, but we reject it. It makes us really uncomfortable because, she says, it creates in the harness of control. So in other words, we imagine that reality is like this bucking bronco, and we have got a harness on it, and we are trying to control it. We're trying to say, I am going to direct how my life unfolds. So I'm going to try to control this bucking bronco. And so in the harness, I've got the bit that this crazy horse, right? And they say, and it creates in that harness, or for that horse, the unsettled sensation of being the subjected to reality that you cannot constrain. So you begin to realize that you are the bucking bronco, that you are the subjected to reality that you can't constrain. You can't change it because it's coming from inside you, right? Like that, like it's gonna like this change that's changing, that you have changed is what they're saying. What she's saying here, that you cannot, but it is. She says you cannot connect to. You feel lost, alone, and bereft. So it feels like imagine like one of the ways I sometimes think about our creative power is that it's like this fire hose that we are blasting out this incredible energy from inside of us. But what happens if you don't know how to control a fire hose? It just, right, it goes all over the place and you're trying to hold it. And I think in the periods of change, when we're going through massive change, it can feel a little like that. And it's coming from inside of us. So there's no external person we can blame. There's no external person we can say, come and change this. It's us. So how do we get away from it? We can't, because it's us. We can't go back because we've changed. All of a sudden we cannot fit. It's like outgrowing your favorite shoe. When you're a kid, you're like, you just cannot get your foot back in that shoe. It's done. You have moved on. And so that's kind of what she's referring to. You cannot, and then it leaves you feeling lost, alone, and bereft. Then she says, fear nothing in that moment. Have no fear that what is surrendered was needed. Be only in the spot of your choice to continue. And I think this is some of the most valuable advice she's giving us in this whole message. So what is the energy that we need to hold, right? If we're freaking out, if all this stuff is happening, how do we get through it? What do we do? She says, just focus on continuing. And if you can just hold that, it's like try to be in acceptance. If acceptance is too much of a reach, just continue, right? It be only in the spot of your choice to continue. So actively choosing, I am going to stay here. I am going to keep trying, right? To live on, to experience what is happening, to come forward into what is beckoning you. And so this is important, she says, to experience what is happening. Because how many of us, including myself, have as our method of coping to jump out of our body and to not experience it, right? To numb down our emotions, to go into shock. And that is such a common thing. And so the idea is to try to come back into presence with what's happening, to try to be present, to try to feel, to have your moment of grief if you have grief, and then do your best in that moment to actively make the choice to continue. And that is, I think, a beautiful strategy to help us through these moments, to stay in the headspace that's going to make us the most receptive to new good things coming to us, to come forward into what is beckoning you. Next paragraph, and she says, your creative self takes more than an hour, sometimes more than a week, but not a lifetime. It will come forward. The new beckons to you, and if you allow it, it will rise up from within you. So how long? Like, how long do I have to sit in that unpleasant, and can we change the valence? Can we make it feel pleasant? But how long do we have to sit there? And she says, well, it's probably going to take you more than an hour, maybe more than a week, right? But it will not be forever. It's not going to be forever, that you will get through it. And that when you do, you will have created, and hopefully, a new, brighter, shinier reality. It's just how bright and shiny will it be? That depends on the degree to which we are able to embrace the stillness. And so how much are we willing to open that door, right? To throw away old ways of being, to let them go. And so that's on us. That's the opportunity that we're facing. That's the exciting opportunity that we're facing in these moments. So she goes on to say more of our questions. She says, what shall it look like? What shall it feel like? How can I anticipate it? How can I wait more patiently? These questions are on your mind, and these questions are a delight. For you are considering the opening of your field, resonating with the potential for the unknown and what is not yet understood. So she likes these questions because it really represents that we're no longer in denial or rejection. We're saying, okay, I accept it. How do I work with it? That's a very different question, right? I accept that it's true. What do I do now? So she says, good, this is great. This is progress. We've chosen to continue. We're engaged. We are noticing. We're present, right? Next paragraph, she says, from this higher ground and perspective of anticipating change with readiness, you can prepare the self to be resolved to continue. And this is all you need to do. Continue moving, continue being, continue blessing each day of your journey, resting in between, knowing that when you know not what to do, something will come forward. Something will continue toward you. Simply waiting is not waiting. You need not wrestle with your own impatience. Simply settle into the motions of making do and making the best of each day that is brought to you, opening your heart in surrender to what is, allowing the future to beckon toward you. So so this is that thing where it is, I know it's a challenge. Like my daughter is right now in this space where she's choosing to leave a job without having the new one settled, and I'm incredibly proud of her for doing it, because it's part of her healing journey, and she's moving away from a job that was an impressive job. It was a job that a lot of people would look on and be like, "Hey, she made it." And not that it was like she wasn't, she was still at the bottom of the pecking order, but it was a career path that people would look at and go, "Ooh, she's successful," and in your early 20s, that's all you want. You want to break out. You want to feel like, I'm making it. I'm on my path. And she got there and realized it sucked. She got like, this is terrible. This is not who I am. And so the hardest choice, right, was to walk away from societal expectations, to walk away from people's approval, right, and to face instead people's judgment. So like really hard. And I'm so proud of her. And the hardest thing for her now is sitting in the stillness and the fear, like, did I jump off the train forever, right? That's the fear. Am I lost forever? Will I ever have, like, if I'm not doing the path that everybody does, what does that mean for me? And it's just, all I can do is just trust yourself, trust who you are, trust that you're a beautiful person. Trust you're going to create a beautiful life. And so just keep on, keep continuing, keep being open to something you didn't expect. Keep looking, keep being actively engaged in life. Like, that's the idea. Be in the now, be present, and be engaged. And so, yeah, she's applying for things, she's looking, she's being active. That's the idea, right? That's how we get through. That's how and it's always as much as possible with that feeling of openness, enjoying the freedom, enjoying the change as much as you can, because sometimes change is not so enjoyable. So, and then Mother of Creation goes on to say, being aware, recognizing with patience, with calm reflection, what is changing, what is presenting itself, what can you move toward with ease, where are you graduating in your heart space towards something that feels joyful or potentially important, what can speak to you in a language that you don't yet understand, where is your curiosity, where do you feel led? So she's saying, when you're in that stillness space, you might have, the idea is to, if we are looking for something to come that's the same shape as the thing that we just left, we are not going to be open to seeing something brand new. So think about it. Later in this message, she gives this beautiful example of getting off the train that's going the wrong way. And imagine if you got off the train, and because you're like, okay, train's going the wrong way, great, I'm going to step off the train and get onto the platform, and you don't know where you're going to go next. You have no idea when the next train is coming, but only thing you're looking for is trains. What if you get on that platform and you're just looking for trains, and you're waiting for trains, and in the meantime, all these other things go by. There goes a horse, there goes a hot air balloon, there goes a car, and you're like, well, where's my train? Well, the idea is we need to open our perspective to take in not just trains, but all modes of transportation. It makes me think, I remember eons ago when I remember in some business course we were talking about what is the thing that starts with an M and it means a mission statement. We were talking about mission statements, and we were talking about the mission statement for Toyota company. And they said Toyota was not about, their mission statement was not about being the best car company. The mission statement was something about being the best transportation company, which was such a cool idea. This idea that whether it's cars, whether it's spaceships, like what is it, that they are the transportation company. So I think it's that idea that we have to open our lens, open our field to beyond the forms that we've always been in, and be ready to perceive. If you really want to create a new reality, and think about how huge this is for the shift in consciousness. If we go through this shift in consciousness and we let our old forms fall apart, if the US truly falls apart, if the federal government stops, if our banking system crashes, and we move into something totally different, which, digital currency, different things happening, who knows what our government is going to look like? And if we then turn around and just try to recreate the old thing, is that going to really serve us? Like, do we need to take a moment to wait for the hot air balloon? Or are we just going to look for another train and just get right back on and recreate what we just destroyed? Like, that's the thing. That's why this is so important, right? We want to create something brand new, something that is in frequency with our higher rising vibration. So, So she goes on to say, these are the quiet moments of stillness wherein your perception is enabled. The all of you can speak through you in these moments, the moments of acceptance of change wherein your only sensation of doing is perceiving. This is where to settle your emotion, where to settle into change, to allow the self this placement of stillness. The habit readily made by most persons on this plane of existence is that stillness is not beneficial. That stillness between one thing and the next means you didn't plan well, means you had no plan before leaving, that if you are still in waiting for something, you've already lost and cannot continue and will not have opportunities. And this is not the case. So this is really answering all of our cultural bias, which says, like, if people ask you, what are you doing next? And you don't have an answer, like, people judge you. Like, people, they're like, what did they just get? What happened? They get fired? Like, that's the question. Like, why did they not? Like, how irresponsible, to leave with nowhere else to go. We don't even have a framework for that. Like, it's interesting. Like, if you've ever had a friend that, like, one of my good friends is now a digital nomad and has been for like a year and a half. And the interesting thing is how, like, the idea that she just left her place and left all her possessions and she sold most of her stuff. She's done it twice now since I've known her. Sagittarius rising. That's all I'll say. Sagittarius rising. They love the travel. And so she just sold all her stuff, puts what she wants to keep in a storage unit, and off she goes and travels. And I don't know if she'll ever come back, honestly. Like, she came back to visit recently, but I don't know if she'll ever come back. And so living outside of the framework of this life. And the way that people typically lead a life and all the things that you usually do. So how do you interact with that? How does it when you meet someone, if you've ever met someone like that, what does it make you feel about your own life? Does it make you question things? Does it make you wonder if some of the compromises you've accepted are worth accepting, right? When we are with someone who is in the stillness, who's in the void, what it does is it reflects upon our choice to stay where we are. And it's threatening. And it makes people uncomfortable. And so what they do is they judge you. And they try to make you wrong and they try to make you bad. So, like, I remember in my first divorce when I realized the relationship was ending. And I was speaking with a friend of mine and telling them about what happened. And my friend was not at all supportive. And basically said, well, like, you shouldn't end the marriage. And this is not, you know what I mean? Basically, like, you don't really know all the information, and was really very, like, all I needed in a friend at that moment was, like, I just needed her to hold space for me. I just needed her to be there for me and to support me in my choice. And instead what happened is that it was a reflection of her discomfort in my change of circumstances. And what she responded with instead was denial of my experience. And it was not good. It was a bad experience, as friendships go. Bad experience, but I think that's really common. So same thing with I told you my daughter left her job, and the last couple of weeks she was there, everybody she talked to that just gave her endless poop about leaving. Like, you don't know where you're going yet. Like, I can't believe you're leaving this job. Like, don't you know if you stayed you'd get this and this and this and this and this, but. Yeah. And so they just judgment. And she had to wade through all of that. But we have to recognize what it is. Like, when you are with someone who's making an alternate choice, who's leaving behind the structures that you've built, right, or that you've counted on, it brings into question every compromise you've ever made do with. Like, every little part of you that has said, what if I made a change? Nah, I'm going to stay where I am. Those all come forward, and it's uncomfortable, right? And so it's actually it's weird. Like, it's a weird little thread of enjoyment. Like, with my friend who's in her journey right now of being a digital nomad. And when I hear about her life, I reflect and I think about, would I want that? Like, what I want, because you can. I have moved, as you guys know, I have moved and I could do it again. I could sell this place and I could go for a totally different lifestyle. And that would be a real different lifestyle, because I've always been in this basic area. I've always did house. I've always did all the basic house stuff. I've always kind of been more planted. But what if I just pulled the plug and left and traveled, and I felt into it for a while and said, would I want that? Like, how does that feel in my heart? And nah, nah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I like having a house. It makes me happy. So it's affirming in that moment. I can say, no, I'm good actually. I'm really happy for her. Like she is really delightful and she's having a delightful time and it's really well suited to her. But not for me. Yep, I'm really happy to be where I am. But it does inspire me. I might go somewhere for a month. I might pick up and go somewhere and try out a place and just be there for a month and then come back to my happy little home. So yeah, so that's more my jam. And so it's good. It opens, it stretches you. It says, what about this? But if somebody is in that state of outliving what's useful or is really resisting change, and then you are around them and you are going through change and you are sitting in the stillness, guess what will happen is you will trigger the heck out of them. So it's just an interesting thing to be aware of, is the people who react the strongest are the ones who are resisting change themselves. Right? Yeah. There's a lot, and there's a lot in this message, you guys. There's a lot for us to hold and to recognize and to try to see through a different lens. Like she said in the beginning, right? Things that we understand and don't understand, and all of which we could understand better. Yeah. So, okay. So then she says she says that this idea that if we leave something that we've lost already and that we'll never get another opportunity, she says this is not the case. And then she goes on to say what it means is that your opportunities will not be the same as what they were. It means that you've left behind one frame of experience and are moving into the next. And the next door can open. And the more that you relax into the stillness, the wider that door can present itself, the more that can come through. So I of course I bolded this paragraph. I love this paragraph because I love this sentence. What it means is that your opportunities will not be the same as what they were. So ask yourself, is that what you want? Like when you really think about it, would you rather have something? Is it possible that there could be a better option for you? Whatever is changing, is it possible that there could be something better? And so what this means when you go through this process, when you go through change, it means what you can count on is that whatever's coming is going to be different. And that's exciting, right? And the more that we release our attachment to what was, the better that different can be. Because the less of our wounding will be in it. Next paragraph, she says, the placement of your own vibration is of critical importance. How are you perceiving what lies in front of you? Are you allowing? Are you opening? Rejection from what has been can play a discordant harmony in the body. The sensation that something was lost or given up or taken from you, that you left behind something that perhaps was valued. But as these changes wipe away what can no longer, I lost a page here. Did I? I did, sorry. What can no longer make do, you are lengthening the stillness, not shortening. You are opening the opportunity to receive and perceive something new. So I like this part here about rejection from what has been can play a discordant harmony in the body. So this is a whole nother layer that we have to deal with when we're dealing with this kind of major change, is what caused the change. Like, was it your choice or was it chosen for you? And when it's chosen for you, she's saying, okay, here's another layer, is that can leave a discordant harmony in the body. That can feel really bad. It can feel like, they always say people chase the things that run away. So like, have you ever had a job, a home, a partner, anything that maybe wasn't all that great, but once they dump you, you're like, wait, maybe you weren't so bad, and it has nothing to do with the partner or the home or the job. It has everything to do with they rejected you. And it triggered your wounding from childhood when you felt rejected by your mother or your father. And now all you want is that person to say you're okay again, regardless. And even if you get the relationship back or the job back or the house back or whatever, you'll get back and you'll be like, oh, why did I want this? Like, what was good about this to begin with? All it was that discordant harmony, right? It was that strain of like, it triggered the feeling of unworthiness. And then the thing that rejects you becomes the thing that you seek their approval again, right? The sensation that something was lost or given up or taken from you, that you left behind something that was perhaps valued. But as these changes wipe away what can no longer make do, you are lengthening the stillness, not shortening. You are opening the opportunity to receive and perceive something new. Next paragraph. The higher frequency of your own evolution comes from this place, right? From the stillness. You cannot create it from the benchmark of something that has gone before, from what you previously knew. It only comes from the lengthening of the time between the thing, or between things, sitting in the stillness. What does this look like on an average day, in an average week? How long will it take me? How may I perceive things more quickly? The disquiet moves you. This is something to be aware of, to recognize in the soul the great stirring of judgment. How you feel when you are lost, or how you feel when you feel lost. Feel as if that which previously molded you is in judgment against you. This is the disquiet that you're experiencing. Fear, yes, the fear that you will not find your way out. So this, again, I highlighted because it is so think about that. The feeling that which previously molded you is now in judgment against you. So going back to my first divorce, and one of the hardest things, if you've been divorced once or you've been divorced, I've been divorced twice. If you've had and the more you get, the more points you have. So it's all good. But it's like, you're so worldly. You have so many divorces. I have my two. But my point being here is that the first one of the hardest things, if you had children in your first divorce, then what you lose in that is the idea, the concept of the nuclear family, that will no longer exist anymore. And there's something in our culture, in our society, and there is a truth to the fact that when you are married to the mother or the father of your children, then that is a unifying thing, that your life will never be the same, right? It adds a layer of complication that will just mess with you forever, for the next however long it is, even really forever, because your kids are your kids forever, for your life. So it's like every event, you're going to have to see your ex, and then they're going to bring along their new partner, whoever that is. And it's just a thing. You just have to deal with it forever, and it never goes away. So it's a thing, right? And so whatever you are, like the thing that it's like the thing that you left now becomes in judgment of you, the thing that once molded you. So what molded you once was this idea of being a nuclear family in that example. And then once you break apart from it, not being a nuclear family becomes like this feeling like you're just on the outside. Like you go to the soccer games and you're like, yeah, we can't sit together anymore because we're not a family anymore. So there's all these things where the thing that became your identity, the thing that was like, I am that, when that breaks apart, there's this layer of judgment that is in there. Same thing with, like, from the example of my daughter leaving her job, that idea, that identity that I'm going to be this sort of successful person doing this successful job, and then leaving it and then feeling like, because I am not that, if that was successful, what am I now, right? What does it mean about me now? Am I now a flake? Am I now like what, So it adds this extra context, this extra layer, that if the thing you're leaving was important to your sense of identity, then it brings in the sense that which molded you, as she says, is in judgment against you. That can be painful. It can be really a hard one to wrestle with. Yeah, and she says the fear that you will not find your way out, like that you'll be just stuck in that forever. They made that sound pretty dark about the whole thing but the truth is that it eventually, like as you heal, like I've totally like worked through all of that, and now it doesn't bother me at all. Like if I have to interact with my exes or whatever, it's like, it's now like, thank you. That was not the case for years. For like the first 2 years were brutal coming out of both of those marriages. But now, like, I'm totally good with it. Like now I wish them absolutely the best. I genuinely do. And I see the role we played in each other's lives, and it's really great. Like, and I want them to do well, and I want them to do really well over there. Like, over there, you guys do great over there. So, but it is, so it's not like it's bad forever, but in the moment of change, you're dealing with this feeling of like that which I used to have as my identity and is not my identity. And if I used to think that identity was the way to be, that means that the way I am now is the way I should not be. And that's kind of the mental loop we get stuck in. Yeah. So then she says, I wish to express and to embolden you. The feelings of not doing cannot continue. The emotions of the space and placement of stillness are not forever. They are a momentary pinpoint upon which you shall pivot, should you only commit yourself to experiencing that stillness with an open heart and with acceptance of what can only be described as the potential of the infinite. So I love here where she says, like, it's basically saying, like, don't worry. If feelings, emotions do not last forever. When we are in an emotion, we get lulled into the idea that because we feel it, it's true. And that's not the case. It's just that feelings are overwhelming. Our feelings are so strong that we have a tendency to think that if we feel it now, we will feel it forever because we can't imagine feeling any other way. But a feeling can change in a moment. And so a test for this is, have you ever come home from a busy, hard, long day when you had evening plans and you come home and you flop on your couch and the last thing you want to do is go to that party or whatever you're committed to do? Right? And somehow you manage to peel yourself off the sofa, drag yourself to the party. And then you get to the party and you have a wonderful time. And when you're on the sofa before you go, you can't imagine having fun at the party. Like all you want to just like, I wish I hadn't agreed to go, and you don't want to get up and you're so tired. Then once you go and you have a great time, you can't imagine having stayed home on the sofa. And those are both emotions. Right? And they were very true in the moment. And in the moment, we thought they were truth. We thought that was fact. We thought, nope, the fact that I am tired means I will have a bad time at the party. Not true, right? It's just a feeling. And feelings are true in the moment only. So this is really important. She's saying the feeling you have right now is not forever. When you jump, when you take the leap of faith into the void and you feel like crumb for a minute, it will not last. That feeling is not truth. It doesn't say that you are in fact a loser. It says, no, you just took a huge risk. And the feeling you have right now will not last. It is a moment. It's a moment. It will pass. And in the next moment, when your bright new future comes to you, you will not even be able to imagine that you ever felt like a loser for jumping, right? So she says these emotions are, it's a momentary pinpoint upon which you shall pivot should you only commit yourself to experiencing that stillness with an open heart, right? With the acceptance of what can only be described as the potential of the infinite. Next paragraph, and I bolded this one. Once you have admired your world from this perspective, new things will come forward. New opportunities will present themselves. The letting go is what takes the most time. The greater the time you spend letting go, the longer you will feel that you are waiting. So there it is, right there. Like the actual change happens fast. The thing that is slow is our resistance to the change, right? Our judgment, our resistance, all of that. So if we could just notice ourselves, the challenge we're having letting go, try to get into the space of just continuing. As she said, try to just continue. Try keeping going on, trying to, as much as we can, to open and to recognize our fear, to let it go. Next paragraph, she says, can you only reflect upon the goodness of this opportunity? Can you only reflect upon the goodness of this opportunity to, as if, so here's her metaphor, to step off a moving train going the wrong way onto a platform of indecision, and to stand still and to get your bearing and to see what beckons you next and what carries you. And it might not be a train at all. There may be a hot air balloon or some other form of transport that takes you to a higher plane or to somewhere you previously could not perceive. And think about that. If you, whatever you're doing, whatever you're leaving, whatever you're jumping off from, if it is a train that is in fact going the wrong way, then getting on the platform of indecision is better, right? Because at least you're not being carried further and further in the wrong direction. And so getting there is already an improvement, right? And even if you don't imagine jumping on the train and you have no idea if there's another train or not, it's still better because you're at least not going in the wrong direction. And so this is really a beautiful metaphor because it's true. If we are in anything that is no longer in alignment with our vibration, it is taking us in the wrong direction. It is taking us into lower vibrations as opposed to higher vibrations. So the better thing is to get off the train. Anywhere, just jump off. Get off the train. Jump into the void. Get off the very next platform. Even if you don't know where you're going next, it is better, according to this metaphor, and I think it makes a ton of sense. Next paragraph. And this is the opening that you are waiting for. This is the disconnection and the new endeavor that you are making. Thus, and that doesn't mean literally jumping off a train. Just clarifying. Do not jump off a train. So just saying. All right, this is the opening that you are waiting for. This is the disconnection and the new endeavor that you are making. Thus, find your peace in the now moment, and the letting go is what perturbs you. Set it down in the trust that you are made well, that you are a gifting to this earth, and the greater acceptance that you feel in your own heart of who you are and what you are creating, the more you will trust yourself to create a new vision in alignment with what will behoove you, what will draw you into a brighter and more free future. I bless you. And so this is really getting back to that idea that we create everything from inside of us. And so if you trust that you are good, if you trust that you're full of love, if you trust that your heart has really good things to share and to create with, trust your reality. Trust what's going to come out of you. Your new reality will reflect that. And it's going to be even better if you do it from the void, because you will be creating from your heightened state of consciousness, from everything you've achieved, everything you've cleared, everything you've done, all of that is brought into it. Whereas if we create from the old structure, we are bringing in all our baggage. So yeah, it makes so much sense. And I know it's not easy, but it makes so much sense. All right, you guys, amazing conversation today. Thank you so much for being here and for sharing the energy, sharing the messages. It is I just get so much out of it, and I just feel so lit up and lifted up by this time we have together. So thank you. So, all right, you guys, have a fabulous rest of your day, and I will see you again next Friday live. Bye, you guys.